A child today will be faced as an adult almost daily with problems of a global, interdependent nature, be it peace, food, the equality of life, inflation, or scarcity of resources. Robert Mueller said this, and I believe this to be one of the biggest definitions of the first chapter. In it, he kind of hits all of the imperatives. He hits the peace imperative, talking about how we all have to live together in harmony and have an empathetical view towards others. It shows the economic imperative, the concept of working together in the workplace so that we can actually gain prosperity economically. This also shares the global scarcity of resources, and this could be the ethical imperative or even the technological imperative, how you look at it. Because we can restrict one's access to food and water or other basic life necessities, and that would be ethically wrong. So we would have to acknowledge the ethical imperative. This could also be the technological imperative due to the nature of one's life being connected to family and friends, kind of a collectivist in nature. So the quality of life could be diminished significantly if we do not end up kind of looking into their quality of life. My second quote is, as the debate over H-1B workers and skilled immigrants intensifies, we are losing sight of one important fact. The U.S. is no longer the land of opportunity. If we don't want immigrants who have fueled our innovations and economic growth, they have options elsewhere. Immigrants are returning home in greater numbers, and new research shows they're returning to enjoy better qualities of life, better career prospects, and comfort close to friends and family. This one was said by a Harvard student. So the book didn't actually give me a quote exactly to say who it was by. But the demographic imperative is what this piece was sitting on. The demographic imperative is an important piece that I wanted to speak of by itself. This highlights the fact that we as Americans need people to want to come over here. Or if you're from another culture, then you're going to want immigrants to come to us, or not to the U.S., but you're going to want immigrants to come to your country as well. Without a larger demographic for immigrants wanting to come here, we won't have as much self-awareness as a culture. We won't be able to see our cultural quirks, which could lead us to a relativist position and truly make us believe that our own rules are the best, leading us to an ethnocentric style of life, which could widen the gap between us and other cultures, making our ethnocentrism grow further and further and further until eventually no culture wants to deal with us at all. And at that point, then we would have no economic growth. We would end up having marketing mistakes all over, and no one would want to do any type of business with us. We would be stuck in kind of just ultimate limbo over and over and over again. Not to mention we wouldn't be able to grow as a society. Chapter 2, the very first quote that I thought was one of the most important ones that spoke to me the most was from Clarence Page. Too much has been made of the virtue of colorblindness. I don't want Americans to be blind to my color as long as the color continues to make a profound difference in determining life chances and opportunities. Nor do I wish to see so significant a part of my identity denied. This quote helps break down colorblindness approach and how negative it can be. This not only allows us to grow as a human, this also allows us to just remain in the unconscious competence, thinking that we are right. We're not. We can't grow into the unconscious competence if we're still making the difference and denying what our history has shown. This approach puts us into a conscious incompetent stage by showing us that something bad is to be from being a different ethnicity than us, because it is quickly regarded as, no, you're not supposed to show that other people are different than you or I. And I think that was a very big thing to hit on this, since that can lead right into prejudice and can even create an arm's length approach that we take to other human beings out in our life, and how we interact with other people out of fear of seeming incompetent would only grow. The final quote that I have was from Lena Lebosek. I'm probably butchering the heck out of that name, but they believe that those souls will never be destroyed, and their ancestors will continue to watch over them. So unless they give due respects to the dead through the offering of food, paper money, during the special family events such as birth, weddings, funerals, anniversaries, etc., their lives will be unfavorably influenced. On the anniversary of an ancestor's death, everyone is expected to be present. Through family offerings, the ancestors are kept informed of events of the family. Lena Lebos was the one to say this again. This quote articulates on differences between individualism and collectivism. Lena highlighted a cultural perspective where their values are placed highly on families. This ensures a long-term orientation as the individual and as individualism grows. We may think of our ancestors as being gone from time to time as an individualistic perspective, but as a collective or a collectivism perspective, we can see that those societies put a lot of importance on their family. This is more of a long-term orientation that we can see with each one of the cultures. They will be thinking about their family more and more every day, but they will be thinking about them more than we would as an individualistic society, which could be shown as feminine value. So, meaning that they are more caring for the society that they are in, and they are more wanting to be whole. Whereas an individualistic society, we might have more masculine views, especially towards nature and oneself. The nature is there for us to grab and to use to our advantage. And a collectivist society may look into it as we should work in harmony with the nature. Although it would be completely incompetent to not believe that every culture, or it would be completely incompetent to believe every culture is homogenized, because as we have seen through our reading, almost every culture has shown a lot of heterogeneity style values. We aren't all going to think the same. We aren't going to necessarily ever agree on all of the specific tasks. The only thing that we can do is find a better way to communicate through one another. Through me talking to you, I might be able to say something that might offend you without me ever saying it, or my body position might be closed off. Since I've been reading up on a screen the whole time, it might have seemed that I was distant or further away from the viewer than I would hope to be. This is something that we can also continue to learn through intercultural communications. These are only some of the quotes that I found very fascinating, but these are the ones that I could articulate the most through my own words and tie in as much that I could. I still left out a lot from the chapters, as you may have known, but feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you guys think.